Well, you got wicked there, man.
Oh,
Wicked there. Well done, mate, man. Well done.
It's not me.
It's all you. Mum and dad. Yeah, mum and dad. Well, Nan and Grandad should have said.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be nice. So what I was thinking of doing is I'm kind of playing around this front here. See the back short, but just have it quite loose so you can part it if you want. You can bring it back and have it quite loose and textured if you want. Quite a versatile haircut. Cool. So keep it nice and sharp around the edges.
Perfect.
Yeah, cool. Hey guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman YouTube channel at the Hunter Collective. Today we've got Sard in the chair and we are going to be looking at doing something quite versatile, but working with the length we've got. Now, we had a little chat on the couch earlier and you know, one thing that Sard said to me was that he's got super thick hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super thick hair, which I think is a bonus, right? Because we can get away with texturising quite a lot and thinning it out and finding ways to actually make it quite easy for him to style his hair with minimal effort. So what we thought we'd do today was number two round the back and sides is what he already has now. We're just putting a bit of a twist on that. So I was thinking maybe taking it quite high on the taper. Just doing quite a very, very short zero taper on the neck and just taking the sideburns down a little bit. One of the reasons why I always go a touch short with the sideburns, especially on someone with really thick hair, is that they seem to grow faster than everywhere else. So I'll probably take them down to like a 1.5, just to give that similar effect of it being a number 2. And just blend it into what we've got as well, which will be quite nice for him. But then with the top is, as you can see, he's had a side part cut in before, but I want to make this more versatile for him. So I want him to be able to wear it in a side part if he likes, but also have it a bit looser, a bit messier, a bit textured if he wants to, or maybe more coming back, or whichever way you'd like to wear it on the day, whichever he likes when he wakes up in the morning. Because the thing is, a lot of the time, the complaints I get when it comes to people's hair, because when it grows out, is that they're stuck with the one hairstyle, or they end up having to overload the product to make it work. Now, do you have any problems when it gets long that you just find you're stuck and you're like?
Yeah, I think it's more like when it's thick, it needs a lot more product to wrangle into place. So.
To get it to where you want to go. So if I can try and minimise that, because I don't want this haircut to last them a week or 2. I want it to last like 4 to 5 weeks. That's the average time scale my clients come back to me is roughly 5 weeks. So I want that to last for him as well. But what we're thinking we could do is connect the sides in. So this side will have a part in and it'll have quite a big disconnection, as you can see. I'm just pulling that down now, it's got a bit of a disconnection, but I want to connect it, but still allow him to wear it in a part in, wear it coming back, wear it textured, whatever else. So this will change the way I do my starting section. So I'm looking to remove quite a bit of length through the crown, because it's got quite a lot of bulk back here. It's super thick. I mean, I wish you could feel it through the camera. It's really super thick. But I want to, it's the back of his head. If you have a look, it doesn't flatten too much here. I'm just pressing on it, just very lightly, and you can see it's got a really nice shape. Even just, you pull this away, you can see he's got quite a nice round to the back of his head. So we can get away with going shorter. Some guys' hair, as you've probably seen in the other videos, it's quite flat through the crown. But this isn't, so I can get away with going a bit shorter through this bit here. And even as you see when I pull it over the crown, it still sits back as well. So that again, I can get away with bringing this quite short through the crown here as well, but it will also still sit over the crown. It's not very, his crown isn't very strong to protrude out or push out anywhere. So that's a bonus for versatility for haircuts. And I think we'll play around with this length. I think we might try and keep as much length through this bit here, through the fringe, and like just from the apex, which is the middle of the head, right down to his fringe. So he can wear it up and a bit messy. He can wear it over to one side. He can split it if he wants to and wear it in a partner or a loose partner. But just make it really versatile, really easy for him in the morning, and that's what I want to get from this. But I want to add a bit of an element of like a kind of classical twist to it, so that really super high tape on the neck, and again short on the sideburns, but kind of mix it up so you've got a little bit of movement through here, a little bit of messiness, a little bit of texture and whatnot, but then that really classic finish around the edges. I think it'll be a nice little twist on whether he wears a suit and just whack it in a part with a bit of pomade, or if he's gone on the weekends, he can still wear it quite messy with that bit of a twist to the back and side as well. So, and that's what we'll do today. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome, let's get it washed, conditioned, and then we'll start from there. Alright, man? I'm just looking for the recession area here. As you can see, it's not perfectly straight, but it's very low, it's a very strong hairline. And we're doing this angle right up into the crown. So it's almost becoming on this angle. What that allows me to do is take away a lot of length through here, and also the connection points higher up. So it means I can get away with going shorter through the crown as well. And wear that really quite high up. It's almost going to come to like a V at the top. Now, because this isn't the natural round of the head, you're going to get a lot of hairs kicking back. So I'm going to use a couple of clips in there just to keep that hair up. It will tend to kick back if you're going a bit higher up, because it doesn't really want to live that way. It doesn't want to sit that way, so it will kick out a little bit. Now, as I get to the back, I'm going to bring this around the top. I might edge it up to the other side. Now this will take a few goes. This is the one that you should take the longest on in your section, because this basically sets the precedence of how balanced your haircut's going to be. If this is wonky, then your haircut will be wonky. That's basically the way it is. I always spend a good, well, as long as I need to on this section. This is the most important section you'll take throughout this haircut. You see that's quite high compared to what we'd normally do. So look in the mirror as well. That side's dropped a touch compared to this side. I'm going to lower this side a little bit. There we go. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to pop a couple of clips in there just to keep it nice and straight. So I'm going to dry off the back and sides because I'm going to do my clipper work. I'm going to start with that first. So I'm going to dry that off, and that helps me work it through and find out exactly how the hair will pick out, and just a bit easier. I find it easier to do it when it's dry as well. So I'm just using a round brush. I just want to help that sit as flat as I can. This is going to be a tool we're going to use later, so I want to make sure that I can dry this flat, and I can make that sure that's going to sit where I want it to sit for later in the haircut. So as I'm drying this, I'm starting to dry this in a way that I want this to sit at the end. So I want this to sit back a little bit, or at least have the option to come back a touch when he runs his fingers through it. So I'm looking now to see at what length, whether it's this length we need to leave it to, and that's going to start sitting back. So if you watch what I do now, so use the brush, I'm just going to twist it and bring it back and lose that nozzle, because the key thing is, the nozzle is what directs the hair to where you want it to go. So if you watch this, I want this hair to come back, and as you can see, that hair on that top section, even at that short, is starting to sit back. So I know if I go too much shorter than that, it might not sit back. So there goes my versatility throughout this haircut. So I'm going to try and work to whatever length that is at the top. So I want to try and keep as much length through this corner as I possibly can. So this is like you're doing almost your own consultation without the client knowing, but knowing what your end result's going to be. Because at the end of the day, we need to know what the end result's going to be. Okay, if you watch this, I'm bringing this back, so that's sitting back quite nice. It also sits nice and flat. So I know, again, that's a little bit short of that side, but I think this side will be the same. We'll have a little look at what point that starts to kick out. And I'm thinking, okay, that's really cool. That's sitting back just nicely through there. That's sitting really nice. So I don't want to go too much shorter than the top bit there, especially on that section. Slightly longer through the back here. Now down the bottom, I'm just drying it through. And then I'll work on this crown as well. So as you can see with the crown being over this side, there's a lot more hair through here. That's why it's sort of sticking a bit higher up through here instead of a bit flatter here. Because this is where obviously a lot more length is from the crown. So that's going to sit a little bit flatter than anywhere else, but I know that I can go a bit short on there. That's totally fine. So again, you know, as I always try and think to myself, prevention over the cure. So there's no point in me kind of working right up the two and going, that is going to sit back now. If I can see that sitting back when I'm drying it, I know then that way, if I don't go any shorter than here, it's going to work. I'm just drying it through. Through your fingers, just working up into the hair, try and dry that a bit faster. Again, you do need to be conscious of time when you're cutting hair as well. I know that the client hasn't got all day, I haven't got all day, so I want to make sure that I can try and get this done within a reasonable time, but also that it works well, it looks good as well. So start straight onto my number 2. I'm going to kick it back to a 2.5 and start with that. Just put my baseline at the 2.5, then work the 2 into the 2.5. Head straight on forward. There you go, just a touch lower down. There we go. So I'm just positioning this head just so it's slightly angled down, so that when I'm working the clippers I can pump it off and not go too high up. So I'm going to use his head as the guide as well. So I'm going to take it to about there. So 2.5 in first, use my comb, work into that, there's my guide, and then work that right around the head. So if you look at that, usually when you do anything like say a bit longer through the crown or whatever, I'd normally drop that right down, sort of maybe just towards the occipital bone at the back here. But I'm actually staying pretty even all the way through. So that way I'm going to go slightly higher at the back, but also keep it at a reasonable level here, so that I can blend into this point up here as well. So it's quite a shallow blend through the sides, then you get away with going quite high at the back as well.
Thanks, sir. How did you get into this?
How did I get into barbering? Oh, I just fell into it really, mate. So my very first boss was like a family friend. I used to be very good friends with his brother growing up, and my family knew his family, and my mum known him for a long time as well. He used to live at the end of my road as well. And I remember we were just talking in the chair one day about like what I'm going to do when I leave school. Like I was sort of like year 10, so I was about 15 or something, or just turning 16 I think. Oh no, I think I was just turning 15. And I remember we were just talking about like what I'm going to do for, you know, a living and stuff like that, like, and I didn't really know. And I remember saying to him, like, you know, what qualifications do I need for this, for your, like, what you into your job, what qualifications did you get? And he said, like, none, you know, you do it all in college. And I was like, you know, to anyone who's not confident in school, to hear them words of like, yeah, you can get a job without any qualifications, not obviously not without any, you've got to still, you know, a level of understanding, but, you you learn a lot of key skills and stuff in college and stuff like that. I was like, okay. And then I remember he sort of, was like, do you want to do a Saturday job kind of thing? And I was a bit like, yeah, why not? And then I just started working a couple of Saturdays after that, and just really loved it. And you know, the guys who worked there were really good, and they really took me under the wing, and you know, made me feel really welcome from day one, kind of thing. And it was great, really. And that was it. You know, you have your days where, you know, I got ripped in school. You know, we walk into school and everyone would shout like, you know, "Give the short back inside" or something. Like some of the little ones from like the year below and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like the place that everyone sort of went to for the haircuts. You know,
Right. Yeah.
you know, any school, rich or poor. You know, it was kind of a really like mixed bag of clients. So
That's cool.
yeah, it was kind of really it, really. You know. So I'm working to my number 2 now. Working all the way from the bottom up into the 2.5. I'm just going to pull out at that corner because I want to keep a little bit of room to blend as well. So again, like I said, shallow blend, meaning I'm not going to be going too high up. Just going to be keeping the blend sort of filly, like kind of quite small, should we say. Now I want to create a really nice taper on the neck, quite high as well, to give that super leanness to the head. And just give a bit of a twist, really, a bit of a kind of classic twist to a bit more of a messy, modern hairstyle. Brush down the neck so I can see exactly where the hairline is. Getting clean area always works really well. I'm going to put my my line in to where I want it to start blending from. So I'm going to do it fairly high up, maybe about there. As you can see, it gets a bit weak around here, so I can get away with going shorter here because it's already weak. So no matter if I even tapered it quite low, it would still look shorter. So I might as well strengthen this neckline up by going a bit higher up on the blend. So where the thickness starts and the blend starts as well, it'll just look super, like quite symmetrical, even, and also I'll probably thicken it up slightly as well in terms of looking from afar. Straight up in to where the gets a bit more dense. I'm working again from the middle to the side and just making sure I match that up nice and evenly. Again, anything like I was saying before with the section at the top, if that's even, the haircut will be even, unless you make a mistake throughout the haircut, which is quite hard to do when you're following the guide. Again, the same goes with when you're putting a line in for a taper or a blend or a fade, whatever the word you want to use. If it's a wonky line, the fade's going to be wonky, or the blend's going to be wonky, or the taper's going to be wonky. So again, just try and keep everything as symmetrical as you can and as clean as you can as well. Now, I'm not one for trying to do super sharp kind of temples and stuff, only because I'm trying to get longevity out of my haircuts, and if I cut too far in, there's going to be stubble there in a few days. And again, you know, Sarge's not going to stand there with a razor doing it himself. I really hope you don't, by the way. Please don't do that, because you might get the eyebrow or something, you know. So I'm not expecting him to kind of go over here and stuff like that. So I always try and just strengthen the hairline more than create a hairline, if you know what I mean. I'm just tapering around here as well. So the reason why I use the comb and I start to kind of taper around the edges is because what it allows me to do is see the hairline. So again, I don't want to cut too high into this hairline either, because again, the longevity of these haircuts it's not going to be there for him. If I loop this really high up, he's going to have to, it'll be outgrown in a week. And there's no point in me saying to him, come back in 5, when he's got stubble all the way around his edges. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not, nothing against it, it's just not really for me, it's not how I work. So try and keep everything quite natural looking, obviously clean, but natural as possible. Just keep it quite low, so pull the ear back. Now a good little tip on here as well, to get that nice loop, if you pull the ear flat and put a nice straight line from the top of the ear to the sideburn, when you let go of the ear, it curves around, so it gives almost like a natural curve by doing that. So say if you happen to try and do all this kind of looping around the ear and stuff and get a bit fidgety, just pull it flat, put a nice straight line in it, and it'll naturally curve when you let go. Clean all that area up. Nice blank canvas for me now. And I'm going to start the fade. So I'm going to start open blade onto my 0.5. I'm going to place a line, maybe a couple of centimetres up from there. And just again tilt this head down. So I'm going to use the head as the blend. Just coming off at the very end with a little bit of graduation in there. I'm going to go to my 0.25 now and wave the 0 into my half, so stopping about halfway through that 0.5. I'm going to go move the lever a little bit higher up. There we go. Now I'm going to work my 1.5. I'm bringing this up and off to where it is actually the loaners at the back here, so you get a nice graduation. And I'm going to work down to my number 1. Come off just below where the 1.5 was, it's just about here. Just literally flicking the clipper like that. To allow a little bit more smoother transition into the 1.5. I'm going to a 1.25. I'm working that into my 1.5. So really utilise the lever for anything like this, guys. After that, I'm going to put my half guard on to refine that line out from the 0.5 to the 1. Then open it back out to 0.75 and just work from that line into my 1. Then straight into the close guard and just work on that line. I'm just going to move the lever back to like right in between my 0.5 and my 0.75. I'm just going to use the corner of the blade just to refine. Open it up and work it into any darker areas. This will take it a little bit shorter, but it won't be that noticeable from a distance. It'll look like a number 1.
Yeah, so what are you doing about that? Are you moving into grey and colour? Yeah. Yeah, so
I'm just going to go back to my 1 just to refine. Another 1.5 just to make sure. Just go over it. Do it into the sideburns as well. Just taper them in slightly as well. Now I start the blend from the 2 into this corner here. So again, start at the back and working around, trying to remember that I want to try and keep as much length through this corner here as I possibly can. I know it'll sit back, so giving me that versatility to allow me to do maybe 1 or 2, maybe even 3 different looks as well. I'm just working into my 2.5. And I'm just working all the way up. I'm bringing it up from my 1.5 up into my 2 to refine. Just getting closer and closer with the cone as we get to our 2. I'm bringing it up and out, working my clippers down to create that flatter surface on the, when you look in the mirror you see it's a little bit flatter. I'm still maintaining this length through here. Putting quite a bit off this corner, but if you have a watch, it still moves about, which is what we're after, that versatility. Working over that area. As you see, I'm still going to sit back with a bit of product as well. Now here we go, connecting the top through. So this is on an angle like that. That's how this blend is finished. But when we finish connecting the top, we start to raise it through the sides here. It's going to come from this angle to this angle. And also don't forget, when you apply product to thick hair, as you flatten it, it will create that square shape. So always aim for anyone with thick hair, like mine, like Sard's, like yours, Liam, is when you apply product through the corner and you flatten it down, it will sit square. So get it kind of cut on this kind of angle. When you apply it and you flatten it, it will sit square. If you cut it too square as you apply product, it will sit more round and it'll kind of concave here. It might make it look the shape look a bit odd. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to be working from the front, which is the length I want to keep. So I'm going to take a section from the recession point to the other side of the recession point and just use the sort of smaller teeth at the top here and run my finger behind it and grab that hair as it falls. But I'm going to take a section now. It doesn't have to be perfect, alright? This is the length I want to try and keep. This is where my fringe is. I want to keep this length. I want to break it up a little bit. So I never cut this earlier on. I haven't cut his hair before, so I just want to make sure that this section is nice and uniform, meaning the same length all the way across. But I just want to break it up a little bit as well. I'm just going to cut into this to add a little bit more of a textured finish on the ends, keeping this nice and straight. As you see from this side part previously, it's got a bit of length on this side, but we don't need that, because this at this length it will fall into the side part no matter what he does. That's what I'm going to wear too. That's my guide cut in now. I'll take a section behind and get shorter and shorter as you get to the back. So there's my guide. There's the length in front of it. I don't need that. And put that through. I'm going to alternate what angle I point cut. So I'm going to do some quite deep cutting. So meaning my angle is quite sort of like a bit of a 45-degree angle as I'm cutting into it. But then on the next section, I'll cut in almost straight. This is just give a bit of sort of variation to how the top looks, going towards the ends. So again, adding a little bit more texture to it and more versatility to it as well. Now, as I get to this crown here, I'm going to take this section here, the round of the head, I'll pick it up and you're going to see a nice corner. You're going to see a point, like a triangle. I'm going to cut that straight off. I'll get lower down to my blend and point cut into that to break that blend up. And that still sits over really nicely. But it also goes across as well. And it also goes this side. So again, by going that bit shorter on this crown, which it allows me to, it's given me 2 or 3 different styles to start his haircut. And I'm going to cut into this. Again, keeping my fingers nice and straight. I'm not rounding them off or anything like that. I'm keeping it nice and straight, so I want that nice square finish to this haircut. I'm going to wet it. His hair's so thick it's just absorbing the water. You've got super healthy hair, man. It's absorbing the water well. So now, from the recession point, from where I took my section earlier on, I'm going to do a section straight across. I'm going to isolate that fringe. I'm going to bring all this across and I'm going to cut it at the blend point. Just cut into that nice and sporadically. Don't be afraid if you see a lot more hair coming through, you will see that, because that's where it's been left longer. But we don't need that because that's not his fringe. That's the back of it, that's just behind his fringe. That is his fringe there. So you can see this sits nice and back. As it sits over as well, you can add a little bit of movement through that. But also I've kept this fringe, we've got a lot of disconnection through here, so we can isolate that and have that a little bit higher up as well. So you've still got a nice blend through the sides, a little bit more length, noticeable length through the fringe. But as it falls over, it sits nice as well, but there will be a disconnection through there as well. But you can't tell when you're wearing it like this, you can't tell when you have it up or down. It's only if you wore it down to the side and across is where you'd see it, but I think we've established that's not going to work and that's not going to happen. So I'm going to copy from the centre of the head here to the other side and do exactly the same thing. Now this is going to become sort of quite noticeable how much length is coming off this because it was cut into a side part last time. So this side's going to be slightly longer. Again, don't be afraid to cut hair. It's one thing people do message me and be like, oh, there's one guy who messaged me, I can't remember his name, sorry, but he said every time I go to do this particular type of sectioning, I find that I'm taking loads of hair off. But that's probably because the previous haircut wasn't cut this way. So if you know it's right, don't be afraid to cut it off. Like as you just noticed on this side here, there's a lot more length coming off here compared to the other side. But that's because it was cut into a side part last time, so that's, in my head, that's an obvious reason why. But again, don't be afraid to cut hair off. If you know it's going to work at the end, trust yourself, trust your abilities and just cut it off. And now you'll see a lot of length come off this side. Again, don't be frightened because you're not cutting the fringe. The fringe is there, not here. Fingers right into that blend point. So as you can see, as that springs back, that sits lovely and blended through there. with that fringe, slight disconnection through there, you can't really tell. But the shape will start to change as we start it through. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure the fringe is level, because I'm guessing this side's going to be longer, because again it's been in the side part, so I'm just going to bring that fringe down, so from where that section was, just where I've been cutting it to then, find that section either side, and just bring that down, and then work from the shortest side, which is this side. So start down here, and I'm just going to cut this nice and blunt, because it looks a little bit wispy towards the end here, so I'm just going to take the tiniest little ends off, I'm going to work it around following the hairline. There's a lot of length through here now, but I'm confident I'm following my guide, so I'm going to take that off and then work this across, bring that across there as well, and then cut it to this guide, not that guide. Now we've got a nice even fringe, disconnection. We're starting to create this lovely shape coming through here now as well, so as you can see, short through the back, longer to the front, which is going to allow us to maybe start into a bit of a kind of James Dean style as well, like sort of James Dean quiff, or side part, or maybe a higher, slightly sort of, I don't know, slightly maybe more of a like kind of 1950s kind of side part, was a bit higher up. But it's all going to work, it's connected, but there's also length sitting there that's going to fall into whichever way you want to do it as well. You might not want to wear it with part on one day, you might want to wear it messy, or just coming back. Whatever he wants to do, it's totally up to him. I've not left him with a haircut that he's stuck with. I left him with a haircut that he can change around throughout the time it grows through. So now, I'm going to add a little bit of texture in using my texture razor. Just make sure the hair is thoroughly wet. Same applies when you're sliding through with scissors. Don't do it when it's dry, because it is the most painful thing ever. Do it to yourself and you'll realise it really, really hurts. So now I'm going to lean this head down here towards me. I'm going to take a section just from before the crown, but just before the apex head, and I'm going to cut it with my razor, and I'm going to work it through this way. So I'm going to force this hair going back. I'm adding a little bit of lift through there. I'm going to add a little bit of collapse. So as we've discussed in the previous videos, collapse is where you cut it quite low, so the hair falls over it. Rootless is when you cut it halfway through for the spiky short hair to make the rest of the hair stand up. So I'm going to do a little bit of that. As you can see, the hair's falling off. You can see it through my fingers. I'm going to take the same section, and I'm going to do, again, sporadic collapse down the bottom. So that'll allow a lot of movement, a lot of it to stand up as well. Thins it out as well, but also adds direction. It's just one of the best tools you'll ever get. I'm going to do the same thing again. You can see that hair flicking off there. Grab it again, and do a little bit of collapse down the bottom as well. So one big section, just finishing at that section of the fringe, because again, you don't want to cut too close into the fringe. You don't want the fringe to pop out. You want that to stay quite full. So again, sliding up to my finger, you see that hair's coming off. Grab the same section again. Again, try not to mimic the same slide cut you just done then. Try and mimic it in different areas. So just do a little bit throughout like that. Look at that. It's thinning this hair out, it's letting me move it around. It's letting it stand up as well, so a little bit of water in there. So imagine applying a product to this. Imagine you're doing a different style and you were doing, like, say, a really big kind of pompadour. You had a little bit of root lift with a razor. You'll get hair standing up on its own, just with a bit of water. So imagine applying a product to that. That client's going to go, wow, that's going to work. If it works with water, it's going to work with clay. That's the way I look at it. So now when we're doing the fringe, we're only going to do root lift. We don't want this fringe to collapse. If anything, we want it to stay as high as we can. So I'm taking it a little bit higher up, and something just above halfway, which is about there. I'm going to slide up, and I'm going to work right up to my fingers. So again, what you're going to get there is you're going to get short hair, and getting longer and longer and longer and longer when you stop with this razor. So it's going to start short and get a bit longer. That's going to add like sort of 2 or 3 different parts of that hair to stand up. Shorter elements, a bit longer, and then the final finished length. I'm going to swap direction now like this. So I'm going to force this hair over that way. So allow me to work this way. From this side, I'm going to force the hair that way. So like cutting it on this angle forces the hair to go that way, so it allows him to wear it any way he wants. Follow that through as well, the razor, and just cap off the hair, force that hair backwards this way as well. One of these things with the razor that you have to try it to see it and believe it. As much as you can see it on this video, when you try it yourself, you'll be amazed at what you can create with it. But that's all the texturizing I need to do. As you can see, it's so messy, it's going forward, it's going back, it goes this way. I'm going to dry this off and style. So for the majority of this, I'm going to be using my fingers, but I'm also going to use a round brush at the front. So So I'm just gonna slightly separate that out with my fingers. Again, we don't want this to be a perfect layered kind of blow dry. We want this to be quite natural, quite easy, especially for the client to mimic. So it's not about getting your clips in and doing all this, which is fine. But I'm just thinking reality, it's not going to do that. Even when we spend the time doing that, not many people will. So I'm going to use my fingers just to do a loose sort of separation of the fringe, like this. Push that forward and then just dry it through. So I'm going to dry it back, left, then right. So high speed, medium heat. Now, I just want to show you something with the nozzle, because a lot of people do ask me what the purpose of this is. Now, if you watch this when I switch it on, if you watch when I hold it in a certain way, it's going to push the hair a certain way. So I'm on a medium speed. Now look at the way the hair is going. It's going exactly the shape, whichever direction I put the nozzle in. I take this nozzle off. I do this. Doesn't really do anything. Just blows it into a hole, or like a kind of, it's just almost like it's quite strong here, and then it kind of just blows out from everywhere else. So if you look again, the nozzle off. You're not getting direction with that. You're just getting, basically the hairs are dry, but we want direction. This is why a nozzle is a key thing when you're drying your hair with a hairdryer. It creates the shape, it creates the style, it creates the direction of the hair to go in. Without a nozzle, it won't really do anything. It'll just dry the hair in a kind of like a very smaller area. I'll move on to my round brush. And I'm going to dry this fringe from that section as it is now. So I'm going to turn this round, switch it on, high speed, medium heat. Put that in, use the hairdryer to round it off. I'm going to pull out and really smooth off that fringe. Now we can use the fingers to break that up. Have a bit of bend in there. Just twist it around, create a bit more movement again. Finish off with cold air to really set that style as well. Turn the heat off. If you've got a little blue button or a cold air button, use that. Keep it pressed. And then just run it over the hair. Not in a particular way, just to cool the hair down. Good thing is that it won't only just kind of like stop it going frizzy and dry it a bit more. It'll stop the product from melting, because obviously if the hair's hot and you put the product in it, it's going to melt. So, Sarah's happy. I'm extremely happy with that. I'm going to apply your Real Gentleman matte clay, and I'm going to style it in a few different ways, just show you the versatility of this haircut that we've done as well. So I'm going to go for look number one. It's going to be your side part that you came in with, basically. Again, 5p size. Work it right through. You'll feel it warming up in your hands. Right through your fingers as well. In the crown first. And make sure you rub that into the hair. All the way in. Again, like I always say, make sure you do it from one room to the next. So from the bathroom to the bedroom. What that'll do is it'll allow you to kind of rub it all in without you kind of picking out your favourite bit of the hairstyle. So that's all rubbed in. I'm going to get my comb and I'm going to create a side part. I'll bring that in. And just do something very similar to what you came in with.
It smells good.
It's lovely, isn't it? It smells amazing. It's one thing we always get comments on is how nice it smells. So that's basically what you came in with today. Nice part through the side. So yeah, cool. Say Wednesday you wake up and you go, yeah, sweet, on a side part today. You got one. But let's just say Friday night comes and you're like, right, I'm out now. I want to have a little bit more versatility. I want to have a bit more messy maybe. Break that part up. Bring it forward. And your fingers through the fringe. And start twisting this about. You still have it coming back if you want. You could even do this throughout the day if you fancied maybe breaking the part up into something a bit more messy. A little bit more of a kind of quiff, more like James Dean. Just the faster you do it, the more messy it'll look. Maybe you think, do you know what? Going to go and see the parents on Sunday. Can't be looking like I've been out all night. We'll have a little bit smoother. So you can get yourself a brush, same round brush you used, and just work that through. Maybe just bring it across in a very more natural way of standing. Not too perfect, doesn't want to make it look like you've made too much of an effort. You don't want to stay there longer than you need to, remember? And then bring that across. That nice and smooth. So again, you've got all that texture if you want it. You've got the shape that you've created with the primary shape, as we call it, when you've cut all the sections in. And then you just want something a bit more classic. Maybe back in the suit on or whatever. Don't fancy a side part. So that's just 3 looks. I know you could go on, you could have it even messier if you really want to. You could bring this forward if you really want to. But what I love about this is that I've created texture, but I've also created the shape, and that's the main thing, is that he's not limited to the one style. He can mess it up a little bit. He can have a bit more rugged if he wants, like this.
Yeah, I like that.
You know what I mean?
I like the messier thing.
It looks good, doesn't it? Yeah. But you've got the hair for it though, you know. So bring this forward. It's a little messy. Have the focus mainly on that fringe. You know what I mean? That is just so easy to do, and you're not limited at all. So the only thing that will limit you is your length of your fringe, but if you like it coming up and over anyway, it's perfect. Just kind of wake your fingers and scrunch that in, and that'll create that nice bit of bend in there as well. Twist it around a little bit, emphasise that nice little wave you've got going on there. And there's a nice textured finish as well. But all that was done by clean sections and a razor. And that's it. Happy?
Cool, yeah, man.
It's cool,
Cheers,
isn't it? Very different when you came in. Right? Cool. But what I'm glad is that, yeah, it's different and you've seen the difference, but I also showed you what you originally came in with as well.
Yeah.
So if you are, you know, say you're not brave enough to try out this new look tomorrow or something, just go back to your side part.
Yeah, nice.
It's not a big deal, you know? Cool.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Welcome, mate. So you want to go for basically kind of like 2 back and sides with a very high taper. So simplifying it down. Number 2 back and sides. Take it, obviously, if you've got super thick hair like this, ideal. Go a bit higher at the crown. Don't take it off though. So just make sure you know, be quite honest and say I don't want to lose the crown. Just take the blend a bit higher at the back, and a little bit lower towards here, towards the sides. And you want to basically focus on the length being the longest at the front. So almost like you're looking for a pompadour or a quiff. A lot of guys know what that is. So basically like a disconnection in the fringe, and then just a lot of versatility through the back. So finding out whatever the common length will work for your hair, which your barber will tell you. So whichever length you can still pull it back, pull it to the side, pull it across, if you can do that. Find that length, and then just keep that all the way through, and then just ask for a lot of texturizing. Now, if your barber can use a razor, amazing. If not, just look for slide cutting with the scissor, and it'll give a very similar effect. It won't be the same, but it'll be as close to as what you get without using a razor. And then, yeah, the main focus is the length being long at the front, and also, you know, being able to style it in 1, 2, 3 different ways, 4 different ways if you really want to. The good thing with that as well is that it isn't always down to the cuts that will help them start differently. Obviously, that will help. Being able to not be cut into a side part, being allowed to be still balanced, that it will still work into a side part, but also choice of product. So let's say you wanted it really super slick. Now, I've just showed to him that he can have the same haircut when he came in. But imagine if you wanted it a bit slicker, just use a pomade and the whole haircut will look completely different. So again, change of product will also help this look different as well. All right, brilliant. Thank you, man.
Awesome.
Well, I'll show you the back and sides.
Oh, yeah, nice.
It is a haircut, remember? Well, like you see it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Super tight at the neck. And as you see all that shape through there as well.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice.
It's cool,
That's
isn't it?
great. Yeah, texture on the top is awesome.
Looks awesome, doesn't it, mate? And again, that was just running my fingers through it. Just the way it's been, just the way we did it. It's so easy for you to recreate yourself, you know?
Awesome.
It's all right, yeah?
Yeah,
Sweet,
nice.
right?